Hello and welcome to the BG Podcast, episode 249, discussing the week in Austin politics for April 22nd, as well as the week ahead for April 29th. We are recording this on a Tuesday, but we'll get to that later in the show. Hannah, welcome my co-host, Hannah Garcia.
Hello, everybody.
So, Hannah, let's start with last week. I know you attended the Joint Housing Planning and Mobility Committee, the council committees. I know they were talking about a number of land development code amendments, but any highlights you want to highlight from last week?
So on the April 11th Joint Planning Commission and City Council meeting, we had our first draft amendments of that. And since then, a lot's happened. There's a lot of code amendments to the amendments that are currently being initiated through Planning Commission. But on last Tuesday's meeting with the Housing and Planning Committee, as well as the Mobility Committee, they just really received a briefing on all of four of the code amendments just to better understand. That was something that council had asked for. They really just wanted more information on the changes being made, kind of why they're being made. And so we heard a lot about, even specifically, when I remember is the EV charging. One of the questions was, why can't we allow EV charging, below the grade of the ground? And so, the fire marshal was there who, mad respect to the fire marshal. He was there for, I think, like 18 hours. On Tuesday and Wednesday because the planning commission went very late.
That's right, yeah.
It was a briefing. They had a lot of questions. I think, one of the specific questions was on setbacks, which is how far away your house can be from the street. And so a lot of people, were speaking in at the original joint planning commission and city council meeting, were speaking in favor of decreasing the setbacks because they wanted that community. Being close to your people who are walking on the sidewalk. But I can obviously understand people who might not want to be that close to the street, just so, maybe they don't want to hear cars and other stuff like that. So it's definitely, a complicated issue, but all of the questions that council was asking were related to how do we make this policy better? Not so you have to build something or you have to do something, but so you have the option to do it. And I think that was one of the big things I heard from staff as well during this presentation, as well as at the planning commission meeting, was redevelopment is not a requirement, but it is now an option that you might not have had before. And so they talked about that. They also talked about the notice as well as upcoming, what's it called? The open houses. There we go.
Yeah, refresh with that too, because these are open houses related to the prior 2 weeks ago, we had a special called meeting of council and planning commission, and it was all about the second wave of, there's I think 3 or 4 those code amendments, right? So the EV charging compatibility was a big one, I know, and there are 2 others that I can't recall off the top of my head. But these are open houses related to that.
Yes. And this is where all city staff, several council members will be attending them, will be to answer pretty much every question you have. And, as someone who I think understands this pretty well, I have some questions. Like I had questions about EV charging because unfortunately I'm not the expert of EV charging. So, going to those open houses is extremely helpful. And, they're also trained professionals at explaining this. One of the things I think we often forget is that council members are not experts in every single policy across the city. They rely on staff and policy advisors to really help educate them. And so these people are some of the smartest people in the world, especially at explaining this. I always say like they don't make me feel dumb when they're explaining it, which is always very nice.
Related to that, just an insider tip, lobby tip, but for the public, if you're reaching out to a council office, what you should, when you're reaching out to the office or by email or phone or what have you, always ask for the staffer who covers, X issue. So, if it's a power bill, energy issue, whatever it may be, all the council offices, all the staffers at council office will have assigned policy coverage areas, and you're most likely you'll get a faster response going to that person versus just emailing the council member, or most likely if you email the council member, it'll be routed to that staffer who covers that issue. So just an FYI to save you some time and help you for more smoother engagement with council offices and the mayor's office as well. And also some of those offices will have online they'll have on their council pages, they'll have which staff covers what issue. So just can get ahead of that as well. So along with that, so moving to this week, we had a council work session this morning at 9 a.m. And I know you're attending a council. Any highlights there?
Yeah, so one of the things that was done today was they kind of broke out from their original council work session to the Electric Utility Oversight Commission, which is a committee of council and includes all council members. So they just reviewed or they received an update from General Manager Bob Kahn on the operations as well as some awards and recognitions that
Austin Energy General Manager.
Yes, Austin Energy, that Austin Energy has received. And additionally, they were updated on the Fayette coal plant and the Austin Energy Resource Generation Plan. And one of the reasons is this is a hot button issue is because a lot of people in the city want to divest from the Fayette coal plant because they don't view it, or it isn't renewable energy, and we want to be 100% renewable. So the city has plans to become, I believe, 100% renewable by 2035. I think Mayor Watson has said that there's plans to do that even before then. So a lot of the people brought up today the fact that we don't want to start a new resource generation plan, which would be needed if we divest from the Fayette coal plant. We don't want to do that during a legislative session because we really don't want, the state to kind of interfere with what the city plans on doing. And so a lot of people spoke today in favor of starting up a new resource generation plan before the end of the year to avoid anything or any backlash from the legislature if they had any issues with this. And I think, it's obviously the legislature has made its feelings clear about renewable energy in some ways, especially with the city, and they typically come down on the city of Austin for doing, a wide variety of things. And so I think that was it was well considered, especially going into a legislative session. So several council members, including Councilmember Ryan Alter, Councilmember Allison Alter, and Councilmember Leslie Poole, expressed their interest in starting this up and getting it done before the end of the year. So we could likely see a new resource generation plan before September, potentially.
All right, we'll stay tuned for that. And then later this week, or on Thursday, rather, council will be meeting for the regular meeting. We'll have a link to the agenda in the show notes, but it's a 100-item agenda. Again, per usual for them, I don't see them running past 5 for this, but I don't know how many of those items are on consent, but we'll link to that in the show notes for those of interest to review. We'll also have in the BG Reads on Thursday morning a link to the live stream for those who want to watch from the comfort of their homes or their offices or wherever they may be. We also want to highlight some content that we've developed the last few weeks. 3 BG memos focused on incoming city manager TC Broadnax. We'll have a link to those in the show notes, but what we did with 2 of those, which cover his time and his leadership profile of his leadership in the city of Dallas and in the city of Tacoma, where it was his first time being a city manager, was review public news articles that were written about him, both when he came in, overall his time there, and then when he departed, to compile those into synopses, looking for trends and such. And we'll have, again, we have new links in those documents as well, where you can look at the original sources. And then we also have a memo that we reviewed the last, or TC Broadnax's the city of Dallas's 7 budgets that TC Broadnax was presided over. Again, looking for trends there. And so we'll have links to those in the show notes, but some useful information as Mr. Broadnax will be joining the city as our permanent city manager on the horizon on Monday, May 6th. So excited about that. And I know Hannah's been tracking all the changes that have happened on the city staff org chart over the last year and a half. So it'll be, I think it's very exciting to get this role filled. And I'm sure the changes that will come from there through the end of the year. So we'll be tracking those. Also of note, council, after this Thursday, council will have 2 more meetings left before they go on summer recess. They'll be meeting on May 16th and May 30th for regular meetings, both Thursdays. Following that, they'll be in a recess, and we'll be reconvening for regular business on July 12th. And after that, following on that July 12th date, from there until mid-August, it'll be about the city budget, which Mr. Broadnax will be his first budget, City of Austin budget, he'll be presiding over. And I think at that meeting, also on July 12th, we'll get the draft budget proposed by the city manager. So more to come there. And Hannah, anything else you want to add as we continue with the week?
It's gotten significantly hotter. than it was like 2 weeks ago. So,
Mhm.
everyone wear sunscreen and
Summer's
stay
upon
safe
us.
out there. Drink some water.
All right, y'all have a good rest of the week.
Bye, everybody.